This is the April forecast for Planet Pulse. I'm Jeff Jower.
And I'm Rick Levine. And oh my God, what a month it is. Where do we even begin?
There's so much going on this month. First of all...
All in 1 hour. Not quite.
Well, no, it's all month long. First of all, the sun is in the sign of Aries until the 20th of the month. And Aries is fiery, it's dynamic, it's energetic. Great. And the sun in Aries triggers the ongoing, radical, transformative Uranus-Pluto square we'll describe in more detail in a moment. But that gets the month rolling in the first 2 or 3 days of April.
Yeah, it's incredible. You don't need to be an astrologer to feel the tension on the planet right now. And these aren't new issues. These are issues that have been going on for years, sometimes centuries in some of these places, like in the Crimea right now. It's amazing how this energy is building. And astrologically, it all comes to a focus. Doesn't mean this will be the only day when things happen, but the focus day is April 20th.
This is one of the most dramatic astrological days I think I've ever seen, because 4 planets are aligning in what we call a grand square or a grand cross. It is the most intense and powerful planetary pattern. It involves revolutionary Uranus, transformational Pluto, expansive Jupiter, and aggressive Mars.
Right. And, we look back at one of the most dynamic times, at least in the latter part of the 20th century, the 60s. And the 60s were the historical part of the 60s is from an alignment of Uranus and Pluto. The two of them were conjoined. They were lined up in 1965-66. Now they are 90 degrees to each other, and this 90-degree aspect, this dynamic, creative, stressful aspect, which has been really going on since about 2010 exact, starting a couple of years ago, and will continue for a couple of years, is exact again on April 20th, but this time it's not just these 2 planets, as Jeff said.
No, Jupiter and Mars are involved, but let's break it down so we don't break down. Because as rumbly and earthquakey and volcanic as this energy is, it also represents an opportunity to make breakthroughs. Uranus, the planet of freedom and liberation, is in the independent sign Aries, meaning each one of us has the capacity to reinvent ourselves. Pluto, a planet of power, is in authoritative Capricorn. What rules of your own would you like to tear down? Expansive Jupiter is in sensitive Cancer. How much of your old family history and your old emotional wounds are holding you back, and where can you use those feelings to drive you forward? And who do you have to work with? Mars, the action planet, is in the relationship sign of Libra.
Right, and you've probably heard us say before that when a planet is retrograde, it's closer to Earth. It looks like it's going backwards, but it's more intense. And Mars is the warrior planet.
And Aries key planet.
And it's Aries key planet. And Uranus in Aries is opposite on the 20th or right around then, Mars. And when Mars goes retrograde every other year, almost always you can track how whatever the local issues are at that time, they heat up. The energies heat up. And we're already seeing that now. And I imagine that between now and the end of April, this will become, or wherever these hot spots are, will become more and more of an issue. And if that was only all there was.
Well, there's other stuff
like 2 eclipses.
2 eclipses that we have this month. But quite frankly, it's like having an eclipse in the midst of all of this is like having a little bit of rain in the middle of a 9-point earthquake. I mean, I think the fundamental thing is for each one of us to get out ahead of the change. That old idea that be the change or get changed against your will certainly seems to be screaming loudly this month.
I agree with you, Jeff, but I think that the image that you gave isn't quite fair because eclipses magnify change.
True.
And we have a lunar eclipse, a full moon eclipse on April 15th, and then a solar eclipse that's a new moon eclipse on April 29th. And because they straddle this April 20th date, I think we're going to be ripe. I mean, you've reminded me that in the ancient literature, a solar eclipse was often associated with the fall of a ruler. Now, look at what's going on out there. We're not predicting someone will fall, but there are energies that are imbalanced. And this energy, you said opportunity for breakthrough. And that's really key words because when there is an emergency, then that's something emerges. Yeah. That's when invention happens. That's when creativity, that's when the chance for being freed from the restraints occurs. And so I think you're exactly right what you were saying before, and that is that it's really important that we don't hold on to the old Hopi prophecy that says that the waters are moving swift. He who holds on to the shore will be destroyed. Mm-hmm. Push out into the center of the river and go with the flow, because things are really changing fast now.
Including your ability to discern what's worth holding on to and what's worth changing. There are different kinds of change. There's rebellion against the world, which is disempowering and in many ways childish. But then there's the adult awakening that recognizes how to use crisis in a constructive way.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing to keep in mind is that, meanwhile, the inner planets are all still moving around. Mars has been retrograde for a while. It'll stay retrograde all through April and on into May until May 19th or 20th, and yet Venus, which was retrograde the beginning of the year, is now moving on. It moves into Pisces on April 5th. There's a change of what we're attracted to, what we like. And Mercury, which was retrograde last month, is now moving forward, and it's actually racing through signs. It moves into Aries the beginning of April on April 7th, and it's already into Taurus by April 23rd.
Yeah, those bring about new ways of loving, Venus in Pisces, and new ways of seeing, Mercury in Aries. But I want to jump back if I can. I was thinking about that eclipse, particularly the full moon eclipse, which is in Libra. And one of the things about a lunar eclipse is about letting go. Yeah. And I think that Libra, the partnership sign, it's not about letting go of partnerships, it's about letting go of polarization. In other words, if we stay stuck in the dualistic paradigm that it's this or this and nothing outside of that, no other perspective, then I don't think we're going to catch this wave in a way that takes us anywhere far. So it's those places where we feel really stuck, that it's not about making the hard choice there, it's finding another field of choices.
Which is really what the planet Uranus is all about. When the lightning strikes and it releases tension and there's a breakthrough, it's like the lights go on. When the lightning strikes, all of a sudden the sky is lit up. And it's that sense of ingenious breakthrough that's not about this or that. It's about the third way or the fourth way or the fifth way. It's dreaming up something different. And I think that's really what this month is all about. For Planet Pulse, I'm Rick Levine.
And I'm Jeff Jower, inviting you to join Rick and me here every day for Planet Pulse.